To give you some guidance when creating your own cultural probes, I put together a little instruction and set of templates. You can see the whole process in this overview here, but don't worry, it looks more complex and complicated than it actually is. In total, there are only 4 steps and 4 different templates. The idea is that you start in your team to first work out the question you want to answer. Then you assign single items that you want to be part of your cultural probes to single team members or pairs, which means that you split up for their development and design. After this, you share the outcomes within your team and present your results to each other in order to get everyone back on the same page and to give each other feedback. And last but not least, you together collect ideas about how you can bring the different parts together into an overarching storytelling and clarify a few organizational aspects. But now let's have a closer look at the individual steps and templates. First of all, I recommend you to start as a team to define the focus and guiding questions of your cultural probes. What do you want to learn with your cultural probes? What is it that you want to discover? Then collect people who can give you information about this. From whom can you learn about this topic? Who are possible participants for your cultural probes? Think as well about the context you're interested in. In which situations do you want your participants to work with your probes in order to get direct and really first-hand information about them, their behavior and feelings? As a last step, consider which items you could use as probes. Just list them here without specifying, just brainstorm. We will get to the detailed design in the next template. After this, split up and start working individually or in pairs and divide the items that you'd like to create accordingly, which means that each pair or team member can pick 1 or 2 of the ideas for a possible item that you have brainstormed. And from here, you start designing and developing your assigned item in detail. So what is the task you want people to perform, and how should the item look that triggers this activity? Which size does the item need to be? Is it analog or digital? Which materials could you use? And so on and so forth. Best is really to build the item, build a prototype of it and take a picture of it, which you then can insert here in the template, or at least make a collage or a sketch, which you can share later in the team. Furthermore, write down a short description or instruction for the item, which explains the task that you want your participants to perform. Formulate it in a way that it already addresses your future participants. And of course, give your object a name and think about which functions it fulfills. And last but not least, I ask you to step back from your own work and take a critical look at your item. Reflect which questions the object really answers and take some notes here. As a next step, share your ideas in the team and collect feedback on this template. You all know this format, so what do people like? What do they wish for? Questions and ideas that came up. Feedback from the team is good here, but what would even be better is to do a quick test run with someone from outside your team. Perhaps you can ask your roommates or someone of your family to interact with your item, and you can observe this person while interacting with it. So, does this item really provide the answers and results you'd expect from your future participants? Don't forget to write down the name of your item here to be able to relate the feedback to the according item. And use this sharing session with the team also to clarify a few organizational issues, such as who is responsible for the further processing, development, and final production of this object, and by when should the object be completed. Also think about which materials or maybe what kind of support or help you need from outside to being able to complete this item. If you have to buy stuff or want to print out material, get in contact with the track managers and get approval for all expenses previously, so before buying or commissioning them. Nevertheless, try to make the whole thing as easy and cheap as possible. More effort and costs don't guarantee better insights. The last step of the whole process is to think about how you can bring the single items together. Which overarching storyline connects them all? Which role or mental state do you want your participants to slip into when working with these probes? How could the probes be wrapped? How are they handed over to the participants, and how do you get them back? Do you need a covering letter, explanations for the whole package or the single items? Are there any rewards or triggers you can use to motivate your participants to complete the probes? And do as well not forget to assign a contact person from your team in case participants have questions about your probes and tasks. When you've answered all these questions, you simply have to produce and manufacture your cultural probes, which from my perspective is always a very nice job. Step by step, the items take on shape until you have this tangible result that you can hand over to your participants. As you have seen, I have added small how-to instructions on each template and guiding questions to each step so that you can hopefully work your way through the templates without any problems. In addition, I have suggested a timing for each of the steps in the circles here so that you won't get lost in infinite virtual time and space. Here we have the overall process again, and let me add a very general remark about teamwork here. Teamwork, in my view, does not mean that all tasks always have to be processed by the whole team together. The important thing about teamwork is that you have a common goal, or even better, a common vision for your project. This will allow you to split up and divide tasks wisely so you can use the team resources to its best and work effectively towards achieving your shared goal. Why do I elaborate on this here? This overall step-by-step guide is just a suggestion. You can also assign 2 people to design the entire cultural probes, while the other team members do desk research, develop interview guidelines, or conduct initial interviews. Or you work throughout this process together until here and appoint 2 people to finalize the rest. Try to find an efficient way of working that suits your team best without losing your shared and common goal. If you want to work with this set of templates, please do not work in the templates themselves. Just copy-paste them to your own team board and give it a try. And as this whole step-by-step guide is a prototype and work in progress, I'm really looking forward to your feedback and also to pictures of your items and probes you'll have created. This will help me to iterate and improve this input for future students. But now have fun making your own cultural probes and stay creative and tuned.